It's easy to hear your favorite artist on WFPK from wherever you are. Listen on your smart speaker, live stream from our website at WFPK.org from Louisville Public Media.
Consequence Podcast Network.
Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks so much for making your way here, checking out the series. Hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with all the interviews that we put out every single week. 3 brand new interviews every single week. New ones every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so you can keep up with all of your favorite artists, discover some new ones, and know what's happening in the music world. iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Acast, Podchaser, YouTube for the video versions, or anywhere you get your podcast from. Just subscribe to Kyle Meredith with. And that's me. I'm Kyle Meredith. Today, my guest, Isaac Brock of the band Modest Mouse. They are back with the Golden Casket, their first album since 2015, and Isaac is going to tell me about the sound experiments he had been working on over the past few years, as well as having kids. That's kept him busy, and the album that he had talked about releasing after Strangers to Ourselves, which he says he still has and he still likes. So maybe we'll be getting that at some point in eternity. Isaac goes on to discuss his penchant for writing about the universe, the unseen parts of our environment that include sound waves and various other waves, and aliens. In fact, there's quite a bit of talk of UFOs, third eye spies, the Phoenix Lights, both in relation to his own experiences and how they work themselves into this record. It's a really interesting and fun interview. It's Kyle Meredith talking with Modest Mouse, Isaac Brock. First off, I guess I should say it's so great to have you back. I know there's been these one-off singles in the past few years, but to have an album, the Golden Casket, that is so amazingly good, and I'm really not doing the interview or blowing smoke up your way. I freaking love this record. It is interesting that when I mentioned that, I'm going to be talking with you, it doesn't matter who I'm talking to. The first question out of everybody's mouth is, what does he do? What does he do between albums? I think that's become the big thing.
Yeah. That's kind of all over the place. I made a lot of noise that I didn't think was worth making, putting on records, but I wanted to make it anyways. And I made a lot of it. I made years of just looped insanity, I think. And then, outside of music, I don't know, I've been pretty busy with my kids, and life in general, and it's baby jail. It's what someone I know calls it, and it's pretty fitting. So, yeah, I'm serving a couple sentences here.
It's a real thing. I do know about that.
Yeah. Are you in or are you out?
Mine is now 13. I got one. Okay. So I'm out, but I completely remember it. It's very, I have lots of video and audio to remind me that while in my head it was really cute, that at the time it was not as cute.
It's pretty fucking cute, man. Yeah, I don't think I'm being the best dad I can, because I'm not upset by almost anything they do. But it's like, oh, that's so cute, but it's so fucking cute. Anyways, yeah, lots of loosening the wheels on the wagon and then tightening them back up. That sort of shit.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I do remember at one point, if I'm remembering right, actually, and it was on the last record. And of course, I think a lot of people are probably asking you around the same thing right then, like, hey, it's been a handful of years since an album. And I think a lot of artists, when they say this, I assume they probably regret it immediately. But I thought you had said something around that time, like, you know what? And I've got enough material for another album right after this.
Yeah, and I kind of did, I think I was 2 songs shy of what I would have felt was and so I was like, oh, I'll just start releasing this as singles, and then by the time I need those other 2 songs, well, we'll be there. And we didn't get very far with that, because I don't fucking know why. There's no reason it didn't. There's still that batch of songs is still sitting there, and I'm still pretty happy with it. And so I don't know. Maybe I'll just tell another lie. Yeah, next was gonna be done even quicker.
Even quicker.
6 years.
No, at least now you've set it up. Now we have expectations, so it's fine. We're like, we got one. This is all right. But so digging into this one, and I just want to dig into this one because I do think there's so much going on to dissect. Like, I'll start with this. Another one of the fan comments that I've at least seen online is sort of, as I say, the expectations, what people are assuming a lot of this thematically might be about. And someone said, you know, with the world so shitty, there's some expectations thematically that this could follow in line with, you know, what you call your breakthrough record, Good News for People Like Bad News. And I don't know what a golden casket exactly represents to you in this. I kind of know what I felt like it has. Like, I haven't completely grasped that, but it does seem like when we're talking about a golden casket, which no matter the material, it's still a waste of space ultimately that you're burying someone in, and, you know, just, you know, being away with. But so let me back that up. So what does that represent to you in this? And is that thematically sort of on pace with what the assumptions are?
Well, I mean, I'm more mesmerized than feeling what the hell about it, you know, like my lack of, what am I trying to say? The last couple of years have been strange enough for me and whatnot, at least, that I'm reevaluating my overall universe view, you know, like math is getting fucking weirder. Like, I don't even understand the math that makes this shit make sense, but quantum anything, you know, like, I definitely feel like a passenger things, you know, like at times. Most of the universe is invisible and it's fucking wild. That's kind of where I'm at. And I think there's a bit of that in this thing. And the ways that we're able to engage in and just, you know, just blindly just throwing fucking, you know, rays, RF, you know, extremely low frequency waves, fucking all the stuff that is our communication and things. Like, it's as real as you or me, man. Like, I mean, we're using it right now and stuff. It's not solid, but it's doing something to it. Yeah, you know? And I mean, who can blame us? They're fucking this whole, everything about this is kind of neat and stuff. And we're not, and for others, very profitable. I mean, like, I think if we found out today for certain, like, news came in and it was like, oh, all pollinators are dying because of phones. I'd call someone and tell them about it on my fucking cell phone and shit. Like, right. And I don't think that is like, yeah, we're plenty evil, I guess, but I don't think that's what this is. Anything's really about. I think it's just, once you've had a taste, people fucking, you know, like, they're not going to stop making cell phones. There's more islands to buy or whatever and shit.
First off, the pollinators has been something that's been scaring me for a few years. And the fact that they haven't discredited that, and yet we're all still using the phones. Like, that might be a thing. You know, the bees are dying because we don't know. But it's just kind of a comment on what you were saying there. But hearing the way you talk about that, the way you're talking about, you know, the invisible universe, and having been a fan of Modest Mouse for a very long time, I do feel like you've been sort of looking at the universe for a long time, in and out of a lot of your songs, whether it's even just the moon close to us, and we hear about the stars in this one. Has it changed what you're thinking about when you're looking up there? You know, how the way you look at the universe, has that changed for you?
Well, Elon Musk has, because I got to see a parade the other night. I was like, what the? I didn't sign on for this. Like, it's already hard to see the stars, and now I've got like, now it feels like I'm in a satellite prison. Like, who signed off on this shit? And maybe it'll be great. Maybe it's the best thing that ever happened. I don't know what the game plan is. Wasn't really put up to committee. Like, yeah. I mean, are there any entire nations that you know of that are just like, yeah, you can't just do that I guess that conversation's over. If you want to have it, you don't get to have it. That sort of thing. But you know, for me, like, there's this one line by a band called The Drones that does better than, I hate to say it, they just did a better job summing up this whole thing, which is one line: what do fish know about water? And it's fucking, that's pretty, that's kind of how I feel about the universe as it is right now and things. I mean, like, come on, man, when every day, like, someone, and not just like someone from the Pentagon, like the president, you know, like Obama is like, oh, I can't tell you about the flying saucers. But like, what do you fucking mean? Well, then don't start that sentence and stuff, because there's a lot in there. But, you know, like, Now, I was personally involved in seeing the Phoenix Lights. I saw the most commonly reported. I was in a holding pattern on an airplane. I'm on board. That happened in '97. Google it. So it's not something I was going to talk about because I can't conjure UFOs, but there's a lot of talking about it going on these days, so I'm comfortable doing it. And that's fucking crazy. Like, that's just like casual conversation, just like for world leaders and shit now. Like, oh yes, well, yes. Like, are they waiting for the ink to dry? Like, is there some deal, or it was just like we decided, like, you guys get in the suit. Okay, some of you guys got to climb into this big space pot, and then the rest of you just keep breeding because they're coming back with another pot in about 2,000 years or whatever and stuff. Like, it's gonna be. I mean, I'm actually kind of relieved that, like, apparently whatever's going on with the people from other planets is so becoming an open topic, because I've got a section of what most of my conversation just falls into this tinfoil hat category, and so I kind of keep it, like, I keep it away from the likes of you and stuff. The last thing I need to do is just be publicly crazy again and shit.
It is so common right now. Like this is dinner table conversation that even I'm having here with, around with my wife, because I said the other day, referencing what you were just talking about with Obama, I said, why I'm not nervous right now is because whatever he knows, he's still comfortable enough to just sit around and shoot the shit with Bruce Springsteen on a podcast that goes nowhere.
And isn't that nice?
Yeah.
But like but then you go back to, if someone said that all the pollinators were dying, it definitely dying because our phones, we just keep doing it anyways. Is that what's happening? I mean, it does make me feel more comfortable. Like, there's maybe, because I don't think we have an idea whatsoever how to salvage this shit. Like, we're just like, maybe another 10 years, And so I like to know that there's maybe someone showing up with some better science, maybe a good plan. Maybe it doesn't involve a pot or giant pits of our bodies or anything like that. That would be fucking great, because I'm out of ideas. I don't think no one's calling me, but which is good, because I don't know what to tell them. I'm kind of a Paul Stamets dude. Like, I'm on board with it. I think we could probably solve a lot of problems with mushrooms, but we're not gonna. It's inconvenient. So
I'll tie that in back to the record a little bit too. Just the fact that the whole thing starts off with an acid trip in itself is just a great moment as far as the comeback of Modest Mouse and whatever that means. But really tying it closer into what we're talking about here, you have taken what we're discussing, the silence of the universe, and actually worked that into the music somehow. And I say that as I read in the press release as what you're talking about. I've listened to the record with actual headphones, not with, more than just the earbuds and everything. And it does feel like there's stuff going on. How did you work it in musically? I mean, we hear what we're talking about thematically here, but how did that show itself musically on this record?
Well, when you were asking what I was doing for the, last few years, one of them, and this is boring stuff, but details. Here we are, trying to figure out modular synths. I didn't. I need to have someone with me at all times when operating modular synths. But I did on this record, to have someone helping me put together, like, my chains and get my sounds going. And so that's a lot of that comes from there, or just everything from just friction on fingers was a part of it. And then you slow it down. That's, is that what you're talking about? Where did the trippy sounds come from?
Basically, because there's so much just little things happening musically, right? And I feel like it is part of that, like the silence of the world. It's
probably my favorite record we've ever done as far as this stuff goes. And whatnot, as far as like it's a sound effect record and shit, just like all sorts of neat little clicks and clacks. And I started the whole thing off lying to myself and the producer, saying I wasn't going to play any guitar on it. I was like, I'm not doing guitar on this record. He's like, I think I said it and sounded like kind of belligerent. I'm not gonna do any guitar on this. We're doing a kalimba record, and those were my words. And it lasted for not too long, but for a few songs, you just get going. But then my thumbs hurt and I wanted to play guitar. We didn't also, this record was kind of made in a more collage fashion than less of, like the band standing in a hot attic, just sweating and playing, and things like kind of just enjoyed the technologies we have. It was fun and stuff. And it's going to be fucking damn near impossible to play this shit right. We'll figure it out.
Look forward to that. I know there's a lot of that coming up too. I'll ask about a little bit a minute ago, but I do feel like the obvious song to bring up at this point, because of what we're talking about, is Transmitting Receiving. One, again, because of what we're talking about, but two, that sounded like it was either the most fun song to put together or frustrating. Your cadence, I mean, hitting that is so good.
Thank you. I can do it now, because in order to make that fucking thing work, it was both frustrating and fun. It was, it's like puzzles. Puzzles are fun, but like if you got a million little pieces and it's all sky or something, it's fucking frustrating. And that was kind of the thing. Like, in order for it to work with my breathing, and I don't like being too self-referential and talk, but there it is. Fuck it. It was fun. I can actually still do that pretty well, the whole thing, because it was designed, and I can't take it out of order. If it's taken out of order, the whole thing falls apart. If you pull one thing out of there, the whole thing collapses. Crazy word Jenga and shit.
I was reading, you recently talked about Subterranean Homesick Blues, and I thought there's probably a lineage between the two of those to some degree.
You saw that thing. I kind of don't check into this stuff because it would be vain. But I'm surprised that they used my conversation about that. I barely formed a fucking sentence about anything. I was just like, the words. So
it made sense. No, the whole thing made sense to me. It's
did they put quotes around the whole thing and then put their name under it? Because that was
verbatim. Yeah. Once I read that, that's one of those things I did. I was like, oh, yeah, I can see that. I can see the line to this. Like, whatever. This is your version of that song in some way. But
yeah, kind of true. Although I didn't think about that at the time. That song in particular, that style of singing actually is something I just fucking love. Too many words. That's why one of the things I like about a lot of rap. Just like, I like too many words. Faster and crafty.
I do want to bring up the touring, because here you are now. You've got to figure out how to play this live and songs like that, which I'm very interested to hear you. I'm just throwing stuff out here. This might not have anything to do with you, but we do have the chance now. It is a rebooted tour industry. And for you, do you feel like there's any thought going into this about if anything was wrong beforehand, how do you make it right this hand? Like, are those conversations happening at all?
Yeah. I mean, in a very, I'm involved in the music business sort of way. I don't know if anyone's going to actually see the ways that it's of course they will. There's less of us on stage. I decided that I was done being an 8-piece band, that I'm shrinking it. But as far as the overall industry, I don't know, man. It's tighten up the whole machine. Right before the pandemic hit, I was trying to talk one of my managers into investing in Tesla semis, all right? Into a fleet of 5 or so or at least 3 Tesla semis, because I was like, it's just so much better. They're faster. They fucking, they can basically drive blah, 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 blah. I drank the Kool-Aid fully just off of one promotional web page of theirs and stuff. Yesla. And if they'd done that, they would have been out so much money on semis that couldn't go anywhere and things. So, yeah. I mean, far enough that I found out that it would be years till they got them anyways, because Pepsi already, all the big dogs were getting in on it early. So cool. You're just driving yourself to the show. That spaceship.
We'll get there at some point. We'll get there because the aliens are coming. That's true to some degree.
Apparently have come. There's something that if you have time to look into this. So let's get a little tinfoil hat moment for you. At one point I was getting gang stalked, and that turned into something else. But I ended up a friend of mine who's a retired Navy SEAL and whatnot referred me. Well, okay, one fella gave me a link to a movie called Third Eye Spies, and it's a documentary about declassified shit. The government had this like team of psychics. So it's the people that the Scary Goats movie was based on, but it was the real documentary about these people and stuff. Dove down that rabbit hole pretty far, and so much as I even have had a remote viewer view me and shit like that. He just told me like, okay, at this time, find someplace comfortable, hang out there for 15 minutes. I'll check and see who's checking you out. And then he referred me to another fella. And anyways, in this weird, wonderful world of psychic shit, which is something I wouldn't have bought a fucking year ago. Like I wouldn't have been on board like a year or two ago. I'd have been like, no chance. Fully on board. But one of the things that these people, in one of the sites I went linked into, they're talking to them, and like multiple government fucking like employee dudes independently gave the same description of 4 alien bases underneath 4 mountains on Earth. The location, the vibe, and one's like there's just a console with something watching, and it's neither evil nor good. It's just kind of passive, whatnot. It's wild shit, man. Look at it. But supposedly there's 4 bases here already. Now one of them they have footage of helicopters going into. So, and that's one that they all claimed was somehow aliens and people working together. And then they saw helicopters go into a mountain. So Third Eye Spies is the name of the documentary. Amazon, you get it there. And just watch all of it. But the first 5 minutes, you'll be like, okay, Isaac's not just like, I mean, there's also this thing I've got going now after like finding out that the way Putin kind of got into power was a performance artist friend of his that they were just like, oh, chaos. Just every time one article comes out, put out another article that says the exact opposite for everything. Just never have an actual story. If there's one, if someone says like, you did this, put out an article that says that, or like, and that's how all politics been going and shit, in America, the election, everything, like I kind of have to fucking physically be somewhere and see it, or have the conversation with someone at this point for me not to feel like I'm getting fucking toyed with. And there's no way to be, because like you kind of need news, like it's supposed to be useful and shit. I mean, it's a good plan. Just saying.
All of that you said, how that works into this music, however it had to work into the music, and whatever it means in the details, I love the way you've done it.
Thanks.
And I know I'm doing a hard pivot here, but I do love.
Oh, that's all right. I know where we're at.
I love what you're doing musically. I especially love what you're doing lyrically. And for however long it takes you, I'm not one of those people. It's like, come on, give me the record. It's been 2 years. Like, let the masterpieces happen. I'm
yeah,
sorry,
you would not have wanted. You would have not wanted the record that showed up 2 years later. Well,
yeah,
I guess I had all the stuff recorded from the previous thing. That would have been fine. But if I'd tried writing one from scratch right around then, that would have been a fucking disaster.
I love this one. I really, really do. And I should also point out, I'm here in Louisville, and there's not a time.
Oh, wonderful!
Do you know your name is not. What's that?
Do you know Danny Syme? Guy from Phenomenon, moved from Portland out there. He's 9 feet tall.
Yeah. I know the Phenomena guys, but I don't think I know him personally. Yeah, I know the band.
You see Danny, he lives in Canada. He's great. He's the nicest person on earth.
Well, it's amazing how often still the show that you all did in a gym years ago at like 150 degrees in this gym or whatever down here is still like one of the most legendary shows, I think, in this city. So
yeah, I remember that. They were selling those paintings by the guy who did the Pavement record cover and shit. Yeah, I remember that show. That's great.
Isaac, man, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, like I said, I've been a fan for so long, so I really do appreciate this. Congrats on this record. I can't wait to see this live, to hear it live, wherever, at a gym show, at Lollapalooza. Seriously, though, the Golden Casket is so damn good, dude. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you.
My thanks, Isaac Brock. Again, the new Modest Mouse record is called The Golden Casket. Thanks to you for checking out this episode and hit that subscribe button. You know the deal. You know how podcasts work. I'll put out 3 new interviews every single week so you can keep up with all of your favorite artists. And again, at the usual spots like iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Acast, Podchaser, YouTube for the video versions, or anywhere you get your podcasts from. After that, head over to WFPK.org, where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. An hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, including Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all of them at Kyle Meredith. I do hope you like and follow along. Make sure to say hi when you do. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.
Consequence Podcast Network.
This is how hot it is here. This is a crayon.
And it's melted?
Yeah.
It's easy to hear your favorite artist on WFPK from wherever you are. Listen on your smart speaker, live stream from our website at WFPK.org from Louisville Public Media.